Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of your most watched, educative and informative TV talk show on New World TV, The Daily Trend. The Daily Trend is a panel TV show that hosts a group of outspoken discussants who come together to share their thoughts and experiences on issues that trend in our everyday lives. And today in the studios with me are Mela and Inkum, and we're going to talk about religion and spirituality. Please stay with us, don't go away, we'll be right back.
You're welcome back. So today we are discussing religion and spirituality, and we've realized that for the past number of years, we realized people actually use these two terms, interchangeably. But then I personally think that they used to be used in the same context, but then I think of late there's been a little bit of change. What do you also think? Do you think religion and spirituality are the same?
I think religion in general has to do with a set of beliefs, and then a group of people who in relation to a divine, they find a relation to a divine through their beliefs and their faith. And then when we're looking at spirituality, we're looking at the individual. You search within yourself and then to find meaning in life, a quest to find meaning in life. That's what spirituality is about.
Okay. Yes. How about you, Gracious?
Yeah, so as she said, I think when we talk about religion, it has to do with more than one person. Mm-hmm. So it's like a group of people come together, and then they have like codes to follow. Okay. It's more like it's dogmatic. You have a certain, set of rules and regulations that you follow. So they have a particular way of worship. Everyone, wherever you go, if you belong to that particular group or religious group, then they have a systematic way of worship. Okay. So, and then it's more because it's a group thing, there's usually a leader, someone who leads the group. But when we talk about spirituality, I think it's, as Ivy said, something that is more or less like it's an individual thing. The individual tries to create a personal relationship between himself and maybe his environment or her environment, or maybe a personal relationship between himself or herself and an external force. Okay. That external force, you could call that force maybe God or a deity or something like that.
Yeah, some even ascribe it to the universe as a whole.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think I really agree with what you are saying, because from what I have read on and what I've heard, it seems religion has to do with a group, and religion deals more with looking at what is wrong and right, and then religion deals with public rituals. You see, when a particular group of people are believing in a particular set of rules and regulations, and then they say, let's say, every Sunday we are supposed to come to church, every Friday we go to the mosque. Once it becomes repeated, it becomes a ritual in a way. So religion deals more with public ritual, but then it's more like the spirituality is more of an individual journey. It's a journey to find meaning, to find purpose of our existence or something like that. Yeah,
but when I say public ritual, what exactly do you mean? I don't understand.
Okay, so I say public ritual because with the spirituality, if I sit to ask myself questions and try to meditate to understand my purpose in life, it's between me, myself, and myself. Okay. Me, myself, and I. Do you get it? But then with the religion, because it's a group thing, because it's a community, because it's an institution, whatever is being done is not seen by one person. It's in the public eye. Even if we are 5 or 10 people, it's still in the public eye. So a ritual is anything that is repeated.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that is repeated, any activity that is repeated becomes a ritual. So once it is repeated, it's already a ritual. And then once it is seen by more than one person, it's no longer private, it's public.
So if you have a group of people who belong to a particular religion, and from what we have said, religion has to do with a group, and spirituality is more like an individual journey. Does that mean you cannot have people who are religious and spiritual if the two are different?
Actually, you can have people who are religious and spiritual.
Okay.
We can also have people who are religious but not spiritual.
Or people who are spiritual but not
religious.
Okay.
It works in all three ways. You get it.
Okay. I see.
Looking at people who are religious and then are not spiritual. For instance, I've once heard the Christians. Normally, we say that the true life of a Christian is not about religion. Normally, yes, they want to take Christianity out of the picture of a religion. So Christianity goes a little bit higher. So when you are really a true Christian, it means that you go the extra mile. It means that you now have a relation with your sacred, which the Christians refer their sacred to be the God.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with what you are saying, are you talking about being religious and not being spiritual?
Yes, being religious and not being spiritual.
It's about following.
When you are following the doctrines, perhaps you go to church and you're always following your doctrines. If maybe on Sunday you go to church and then for the intro you do your opening prayer, you do your Bible readings, you sing hymns. They are something that you repeat all the time. It goes on. So when we close, we are done. When I come back home, I don't have any personal relationship with my creator. I don't have any personal relationship with the divine I call to be God. So when I do that personal one, that is when I have a special relationship which I call spirituality.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but my question is, we are not looking at just Christianity. It's religion in general. So we have other kinds of religions, right? So with the term religious but not spiritual, I think when we talk about the other religions too, I personally feel that if someone is religious but not spiritual, it means that it's someone who follows the rites or the rituals without actually seeking a personal relationship with whatever, as you said. Yeah, but it's not really limited to just the Christian side, but in general, all other religions. So if you're a Buddhist or a yogist and the other religions that are there, you just follow the rules and regulations.
Yes, so what are some of these religions that you talk about?
Okay.
I mean, apart from the popular ones, especially in Africa, you have the African traditional religion that varies from place to place depending on their culture. And then we have Christianity, Islam. And there are some other religions, as you did indicate. So I was just wondering, what are some of those religions?
There are religions like Taoism, we have Shintoism,
Buddhism,
Deism.
Buddhism.
Oh, Buddhism. Okay.
Yes.
There's Confucianism. A whole lot.
Okay.
So many.
Wow.
Yeah. Taoism. You've already spoken about Islam. Yes. There are so many other religions. Yeah. And I think new ones keep being created.
Yes.
Day in, day out. Yes. So that's. Yes. And you also asked the question about being spiritual but not religious. Being spiritual but not religious. Yes.
Yes.
It's
of course. As we did indicate, being spiritual is like the individual goes the extra mile. He or she puts in more effort to try to have a better and a greater link with a deity or his environment. So there are some essential questions that people who go through spirituality begin to ask. They begin to conscientize themselves as to, okay, why is this thing happening to me? Okay, why do I feel sick? Why do people die? Where do people go after death? Some basic questions that they begin to ask themselves. And they begin to reflect and they seek, they try as much to seek answers to those questions. So systems like that is like, that's where spirituality really comes in. That's where there's more meditation, there's more dedication to your immediate environment or your God. But with religion, it's like it's a kind of everyone is following. Okay, do this, we do. Don't do this, we don't do. Do this, we do. But we don't really sit down to ask ourselves, why should I not do this? Why should I do this? But with spirituality, it's like there's, an inner question. You try to discover the inner self, the inner being.
Wow.
Try to find answers to some of the things that are happening around you. And of course, there's this theory about people having the ability to communicate with spirits. I think that's also more into spirituality than into religion. So you can actually be part of a religious group but not spiritual, such that you abide by the codes and conducts that have been proposed by your religious authorities, okay? But you don't try to isolate yourself from the religious codes and conducts to try to create your own relationship with the God that you worship. So, for example, there is a story. Sorry, let me just use a Christian example. There's a story in the Bible where Jesus told his disciples that a man was traveling to another city, and on his way he was attacked by bandits. So 3 people came and passed by, and amongst the 3 people was a priest or a pastor or a minister of God or a Christian leader, if you want to put it like that. So now he was going to discharge his duties as a leader of a religious group, and there was a sick man almost dying. He could have opted to spend some time to help the sick person, at least take the person to hospital. But he bypassed and he went straight to a synagogue. And the reason is there are rules to follow. As a religious leader, on a Sabbath day, you ought to be in a synagogue at a particular time to lead, to discharge your duties. So he was being religious at that time instead of being spiritual. So people like that, you have so many people.
Some to argue he was being spiritual.
No, with the spirituality, you are not being dictated to us to how to relate with other human beings.
So is it like, in a sense, religion is seen to be more pushy?
You can say so, because with religion there is punishment and reward. At least the leaders try to make the congregation or the followers believe that maybe heaven exists. So if you do good and you die, you go to heaven. And the opposite of heaven, they say, is hell. So if you do bad and you die,
so
you perish.
So are you saying that in spiritual, there's nothing like a reward?
I'm saying that,
like punishment?
I'm saying that with religion, they instill fear into their followers. But spirituality is more liberating.
I like the word fear.
Yes. But spirituality is more liberating. It is something that you sit down, you meditate, and you try to, create a link, either within you or with something outside of you.
Wow.
Yes.
So we actually also asked people about their views, and would like to take a look at the video. We'll be right back.
The concept of religion and spirituality is something that I think they move hand in hand. Religion without spirituality cannot actually survive. I think that every religion believes that there is an ultimate reality that they say, and that ultimate reality has a link between the worshipper and the worshipped. The worshipped here is a spirit, and the worshipper is a being. So every religion has there is a connection between human beings and then the spirit. However, when you talk of the concept, or when you look at the concept of religion in the world, there are some believers who are of the view that you can be religious without being spiritual. That is the socialist or the moralist view of religion. They are of the view that, look, living a good life, being generous, being kind to people, you are becoming religious, but there is no spirituality here. That is their concept. And when you look at it, they have an argument to go by. But I think in general, most of the religions that we have the belief that there is always a link between the human beings and what they worship in. When you look at the genesis of religion, which is a very complex phenomenon, it is based on the idea that it is based on the perception of spirituality that brought about the birth of religion. Despite the fact that there are some religions like the Shintoism, the Shantoism, and the Buddhism who do not have the belief of spirituality. So I think the link between spirituality and religion is something that depends on the religious belief of the people. But both of them had a point to go. Because to an extent, I support the moralist and the socialist view of the religion.
Being religious and being spiritual, are they the same? Well, I think being religious is we all going to church, like we following the crowd. Let's go to church. Somebody tell let's read the Bible, so that's how I'm doing it. And being spiritual is creating a personal relationship with whatever you are worshiping. So you try to have a good relationship with whatever you are worshiping. you know you have to do this. You don't wait for somebody to tell you that read your Bible, pray, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So alright.
You're welcome back. We're still discussing spirituality and religion. So we'd like to ask, do you have a case where someone is spiritual but not religious?
Yes. Actually, with that whole spiritual but not religious issue, it's actually a life stance on its own. It's a movement on its own. You know that?
Wow.
Yes, it's called the SBNR.
What is SBNR?
Spiritual but not religious. And they have, it's a movement on its own. Yes, we have people, and they have types. We have the dissenters. And then the dissenters are people who are spiritual, but they are not religious because of the fact that they have consciously allowed themselves to move away from whatever religion they are in, either because of a personal experience they had, which made them consciously decide to stop, or along the line, you realize we all backslide once in a while. We all backslide from whatever belief we have in. So they backslide and then they decide not to go back.
Oh, wait. So these are people who belong to a religion, but because of one or two reasons, they decide to opt out from the religion. Is that what they're saying?
Spiritual but not religious, okay? It's, as I said, it's a broad movement on its own. And then we have a group of them who we describe as the dissenters.
Yeah, so the question, the dissenters, are they those who belong to a religion, but because of one or two reasons, they opt out? Okay.
Let's say they were born into the religion, but then as they grow up, due to maybe a personal experience, I know of someone who was a Christian and later decided to quit because maybe he was sick. He was sick and then kept praying and praying and praying and couldn't find the answer. He kept getting sick and finally he gave up hope and he got healed. So you see the thing.
So people like this we call the dissenters.
Yeah, so those who
I
actually...
think that's one issue I have with religion. When you are a member of a religious group, what happens is that they suppress practically, well, these are personal thoughts. They suppress your ability to think scientifically. So somebody is ill. In this modern world, the first thing that should come to your mind is seek medical help. You go to a health facility, they check you and at least they can tell you what is wrong with you. And if they can't find anything, then you can resort to other means of looking for, But the person is ill at the verge of dying, they will not go to hospital. They will be there praying. Why? Because a religious leader has told them that, if you are sick, God or the supreme being has a capacity to heal. So don't waste your time at any hospital.
And that leads me to another sect of the spiritual but not religious people. We have another group who also don't see religion. They only see it as therapeutic, as in they only come to a particular religion if they feel it can help them at a point in time where they need it. When they are done, they are done. So if they need, therapy, maybe they feel like this religion can help me meditate, it can help me find peace, they just join it for that period of time. As soon as they get what they want, they leave. We have groups like that.
Don't you think that's a better option? You don't necessarily have to fix yourself in a particular shoe. Well, if it's good for me, if the room is okay, I stay. If the temperature is too hot, I go out. It's not better.
It is better for you, the individual.
Okay.
But looking at it in a way, it's not being fair to the divine. So we are looking at different religious groups, or we are looking at spirituality. It has a relation to a sacred being. Okay. So if I'm going to join a religious group, or I'm doing something within me because at that time I feel like I have a need of it, then I'm doing it for myself, for my selfish desires.
Exactly.
But it is not being fair to that being.
Good. And then that is what some people also find as being a problem with religion. The fact that you have to conform to certain rules. I mean, who is going to be the judge of whether this is fair or wrong? So with religion, there's a question of what is right and wrong. But with spirituality, there's a question of what should I do personally to feel connected to whatever I believe in. There's that belief there. You get it? And with the fact that some people also believe that religion, is not needed for spiritual growth.
Wow.
Yes, some people feel like religion is not needed. We have people who say, I believe in the God, but not in the church of the God.
Okay.
You get it?
Okay.
Good, because you see, when a group of people come together to do something, it's like along the line, there's a high tendency of pollution. If 3 of us decide to come together to form a religion, the probability of we polluting the religion from its true journey along the line is high. Because I have my problems, you have your problems. We are different individuals. So along the line, if let's say I'm the leader of the group, along the line, I might start bringing my own rules and regulations and use the religion to quote them as this is what the God of our religion is saying.
No, but how can you start propounding your own rules and regulations? Because I'm sure, of course, every religion has a leader. They look up to somebody. If when the person dies, when the person dies, there's another person who succeeds. So if you have an issue and I have an issue and we belong to the same group, we are usually encouraged to pass through the various channels. Speak to your spiritual leader. That's how they call them, spiritual leader. Because we believe that those are the people who are closer to the object of worship. They have a better relationship with their God or the deity that we worship. So if your God is the sun, then amongst us, the one that is the leader, we believe that he has a better link with the sun.
That is where spirituality comes in.
Okay.
Because then you have moved out of the domain of religion. You are going the extra mile. So if there are some problems which we feel are grave and then we cannot solve it ourselves, then we move to the spiritual leader. Why would we choose a spiritual leader and not any other member of the group? Because we feel that this person has a special connection with the divine, okay? So he has time with this being. So there are some things that he could easily reach than a normal member of the group. It means that he's doing something individually. There are some things that he's getting direct from the being.
But then that is where spirituality departs from religion. Because once I am the leader and you come to me, or the convention is if something is not well, you come to me, then it means when it comes to spirituality, the difference is that instead of the spiritual being depending on another person to help him or her solve the problem, they try to find the solution from within themselves.
Exactly, because you see, the spiritualists feel like religion restricts them with its rules and regulations. They feel like if there's the supreme being is out there, if the supreme being is out there, and I can contact him, if he can contact someone and then pass through this person to give us maybe powers, or why can't I also if we are all creation, we are all his creation, you understand?
Yes.
If there's a spiritual being out there, so the spiritualists actually prefer to go on their individual journey to seek the truth for themselves. What is my purpose? How was I created? What does the universe wants me to do?
Okay.
And by so doing, by asking these questions, some people get drawn to the God of their religion. As they start the journey of asking these questions, some people get drawn to the God of their religion. Some people too get drawn to nature. Some people get drawn to art. Some people get drawn to
art. When you say art, what do you mean? Like,
so we have there are some people who connect with art. For example, some write music, some paint, and they realize maybe they feel most at peace when they are writing music. The lyrics just come without them thinking of it. So at that point, you can say they've reached that spiritual. Maybe they meditate, and then it just pours out of them. Wow. So they kind of realize that they are finding a sense of achievement. I've achieved a sense of, there was this emptiness in me. And by thinking and by asking my purpose on this, by asking questions, by trying to understand, this thing is coming out of me. So it's like, this is my calling. That is how they see, this is my spiritual journey.
Well, don't you think we can be religious and still do that?
Be religious and still be spiritual?
And
no, wait, but at the moment that you begin to meditate, you begin to ask yourself questions, you begin to want to find answers for yourself and by yourself. Are you being religious or are you being spiritual?
I would say we are being spiritual.
Wow.
Or Ivy, don't you agree?
It is that way. But I feel like you can also be religious and some way, somehow find certain parts of your life fulfilled, though it wouldn't be full.
Yes, to an extent. That is why I initially said some people on their spiritual journey realize that they connect more with the God of their religion. So if you find the answers you want with the God of a religion, you are finding that fulfillment. You are finding that fulfillment. But some people don't get what they want there, and then they leave. They end up leaving their religion. You get it? Yeah. So.
Okay, viewers, we end this session here. We'll go for a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome, viewers. Still in discussion, we'll be talking about the disadvantages and advantages of religion and then spirituality. Taking religion, because we've spoken about that it's done by a group of people, there's a check on people's morals. And then with spirituality also, it helps us to search within ourselves and find answers to questions that we've been asking ourselves. What do you also think?
Yeah, so both have their own advantages and probably disadvantages. I don't know. Yeah, and with the religion, because it's an institutional, you kind of have a family in a way. Let me put it. Yes, if you are really committed, you have a family. In case of emergencies, most religious bodies come together to help anybody who actually is in need of help.
Because of religion, there's a sense of belongingness.
Exactly.
With the individual, he or she knows that, okay, I belong to. I'm not the only person thinking like this. There are other like-minded human beings.
Yeah.
So we are a family, and
exactly.
that's a good advantage.
Exactly. And then also with the spirituality aspect, and even both, they have a type of emotional peace. Okay, they have positive emotional advantages. So if you believe in a God, okay, or you believe that you have a purpose on this, or you meditate and you are stressed, it's easier to just go to that God or the deity you believe in or the ultimate power you believe in to talk with that power. So you realize it reduces stress.
Okay,
so this peace comes because you find answers to
very
what
good.
Looking
Not
for.
necessarily. There's a certain time you don't find answers. Sometimes you have problem, but the fact that you are able to share the problem with
a member of your group.
Yes,
That's
not just the
issue,
member, but even sometimes the object of worship itself.
Okay.
The fact that you're able to communicate and then have faith, that faith alone gives you peace in a way.
Wow. But I think one disadvantage that we have to put in mind is with religion, it instills a bit of fear in the followers. Because once you have codes of conduct to follow, it means there's punishment and there's reward. And so there's a bit of fear in it. But with spirituality, it's because it is an individual thing. You are not really scared. You feel free to explore. You feel free to imagine. You feel free to think.
Okay.
You feel free to meditate. And so there's no fear in that. Another disadvantage I feel with religion is religion comes alongside with some kind of cost. Okay.
Yeah.
So with religion you have to, maybe in the Christian sect you have to pay tithes. In Islam it's there. You have to there's always something that you have to sacrifice.
I think the sacrifice is everywhere, even with spirituality.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yes. It's everywhere. If you are being spiritual and you feel like you want to take a pilgrimage to a mountain somewhere and go and meditate, I mean, there's kind of cost involved. Or maybe you feel drawn to nature and you feel like your purpose spiritually is to protect the environment. So you are going to fight against pollution, and all that involves money.
Yes, but the thing is that even with that, it is the individual that decides. But with religion, it's more like it's imposed. It's an imposition.
Okay.
You
I
have
get
to
your
do
point.
it.
Yeah, I get
so that's
your
where
point.
the cost comes in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I also see that when you are more spiritual, it makes you look different amongst people. People see you to be a weird person because they don't see you conforming to what they are used to.
You don't follow conventions.
Yes, you are seen to
you are
be
an outlier.
Your ways of talking, maybe even your intelligence, because there are some things you've been able to discover
that they haven't discovered.
Yes, they haven't discovered because they've not had this personal relationship with the being you are with. Yes.
So we can say that a disadvantage is with religion, it limits the individual's capacity to think globally.
Personally, I share that
yes.
thoughts personally. I share it because I feel like when you are born into the religion, it's only a few religions who actually allow you to really meditate and think and try to go
ask questions
and
ask criticize them. Yes, but a lot of the religions, it's like you are being fed.
Exactly.
Do this. This is the
we
truth.
don't
Take
do
it
this.
as
We don't ask this question. If you ask this question, the God will be angry.
Because they are dogmatic.
Exactly.
So dogmas cannot be changed. You just have to go by whatever is stipulated.
Exactly. But then on the other hand too, with spirituality, one fear or disadvantage, I wouldn't really use the word disadvantage, but the probability of it being bad is the fact that some people tend to be misled in a way.
With religion?
With spirituality.
With spirituality.
So when you are, some people tend to meet other spirits during their meditations, or you see, we are in the physical world, and we don't see what is in the spiritual world. Only a few have the eyes to see. And once you take a journey to move out of this physical world into the spiritual world, maybe through meditation, or it's mostly through meditation, because when you're asking yourself and thinking, it's meditation.
Yes.
The probability of, you don't know what is in the spiritual world. So once you leave this physical world and you go into that realm, the thing is, how do you know which is the right one, which is the wrong one? How do you know if
you go in physically?
No, mostly spiritual is inside. It's mental.
Okay,
it's mental. So you ask the question and you realize, as you're asking, you see, man is body, soul, and then spirit. We are connected. So once you are moving into the mental, you are moving more into the spiritual, and you are going out of what the eyes can see. Yeah. So I feel like it can be a bit scary when you are. Some people have what they call astral projection. They feel like you can move out of your body and then travel into space travel.
Yes.
You go and get stuck in space.
Well, so another disadvantage that I have with religion is, you see, with religion, because you have leaders and followers, there's this class distinction between the two.
Exactly.
So one has to lead and the other will definitely have to follow instructions given by. So like there's a boss and there's a subordinate.
Take advantage of that.
And exactly, some people take advantage of that. And especially in the African setting, religious groups, mostly they have their leaders who live a particular affluent lifestyle. They are quite comfortable. And those that they lead are mostly very poor people. And so that class distinction is created with religion. But with spirituality, they don't really have these variations, this class distinction. Okay, I'm superior, you are inferior. Come to me when you need help. Then I'll consult the God that we are all worshipping and give you results. And maybe you may pay for my services. In spirituality, those things do not exist because it's an individual thing. Okay, two people may sit to meditate and to try to find answers. But between the two, there's no boss, there's no superior, there's no inferior person. So
because spirituality is also individualistic, it also helps you and it opens up your mental faculty.
Okay.
Also, it helps you, the mind actually has an eye. Okay. So there are some things that we see with our eyes. When we go into our minds has an eye. So it permits us to see things beyond what our normal eyes can see.
Wow.
Yeah, so there are some things that you have an understanding of. Others wouldn't get to know because they have not gone through that exercise.
Wow.
So it opens up your faculty.
Wow.
Well, an advantage with religion is that, you see, with religion, because it is a group thing, it is an admission that no man knows it all. Okay? And so that's why when you have a problem, you don't depend on yourself like the spiritualists will do, or people who are trying to project spirituality will do. They try to be independent. But if you belong to a religious group and you have an issue, at least, as we did say, you know that there's someone else that you can talk to who may be of help to you, and you don't depend on yourself. And you talk to people who are within the same religious realm as you, because it is an admission that you don't have the answers to all the problems that you face. And so there's this dependency on your neighbor, or at least dependency on someone else for solutions to your problem. Okay. But spirituality is kind of different.
Like Don't you also see with spirituality there may be a way of deception if you are not able to see things rightly, because there are equally other people who are also embarking on spirituality.
Deception, I don't know, because sometimes, see, I don't know, voodooism is something like that. You have a problem, you go and you meet somebody who is like a diviner. They bring out some weird glass and they do some consultations. They look into the glass and they tell you things that are very, I don't want to say weird, but things that are extraordinarily, they sound quite strange to you. So, in fact, some people have graduated to levels that they can let you communicate directly with someone who is dead.
Yeah.
Those things exist. And that's a highly spiritual thing.
Yeah.
In religion, those things really don't really come to play, because religion, like, you believe that, okay, you can communicate, but it's not a communication. It's like a dialogue. No, it's not like a dialogue.
Do we think that the world would be better off without these two, religion and spirituality, or it just can't happen?
I feel both play a role, so we cannot do with or without the other.
Wow.
So
both
Mela,
play a role in our society.
Yeah. So Mela, your also your thoughts. What do you think?
Actually, yes. Since man is a spirit living in a body, having a soul, yes, they both play a very vital role in the society, and then they are both important. Yeah.
Well, personally, I think religion and spirituality coexist, and there's a relationship between the two terms. But what is important is, if you are religious, that is, if you belong to a particular group of people who ascribe to a particular deity, it should not prevent you from striving as an individual to be a spiritual person. You can belong to a group but not necessarily be spiritual. So I think once you try to follow the rules and regulations of a religious group, you strive as an individual to also form a spiritual relationship with yourself and your environment or your object of worship. And I think that is what is actually more important. Well, unfortunately, viewers, this is all what time permits us. Remember, if you have missed the show, you can have a repeat of it on Saturday at 9:10 a.m. and at 4:10 p.m. You can also watch this video through our various social media handles. On Facebook, it is at the Daily Trend TDT, and on YouTube, it is the Daily Trend New World playlist. Until we come again your way again next time, it's goodbye.